The Undone. Closing parenthesis. Chapter 2. Extracting the lock. Patrick stands by his father, who was now cooking a fish inside the pan. The 13-year-old couldn't get the image of the insects that were inside the cookware only minutes ago out of his head, and now with the aroma of fish invading his nostrils, he felt like he was going to puke all over again. "Dad," the boy spoke with affliction in his tone, as his hand rested upon his stomach. Patrick was going to vomit. There was no controlling or stopping it from happening. The kid leaned forward and chunks hissed in the fire and covered the fish. "I'm not feeling so good," Patrick added, after wiping away the left-behind subset of fluid that dangled on his lips and chin. "I want to go home," the teenager mumbled, as he wiped his hand onto his pants, and attempted to clean the rest of his face with his sleeve. His father didn't protest, as he doused the last of the milk jug water onto the small fire, at the same time setting the pan with the dead fish and vomit on the ground. The two of them begin to walk back to the vehicle, where the journey back to Patrick's mother's house begins. There was no words among the two males, as the young boy just sat in his seat quietly, staring out the window, knowing deep down that all of this was dragging his father into a depression state. The man needed help, but was too stubborn to accept it to himself. Patrick had read in a book somewhere, it had quoted, "One cannot be helped, if that one denies that help is needed." Closing parenthesis. The teenager felt bad for the man, for he was his father, and the guy wasn't a horrible person, just the child inside an adult's body. He was never able to hold a job, and always complained about everybody else, and everything around him, especially when things went wrong. As soon as the two of them approached the trailer, where Patrick lived with his mother, the young boy rolled his eyes, quickly noticing his Aunt Julia's car in the driveway. His mom's older sister hated Patrick's father with such great loathe that it pours out of her presence so badly, it becomes nauseating just to be around the older woman. For all she ever did was talk about how Patrick's dad had ruined and destroyed her younger sister's life. The young teenager glances towards the older male beside him. The man's hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly that his knuckles were turning white, as both eyes focusing on the other car. "It's okay, Dad." The sound of his son's voice relaxes the man as his attention falls to the passenger that sat next to him. No other words were said, only silence as he watched his only kid walk away and enter into the trailer. And just like that, Patrick's father was nothing more than misty headlights, disappearing in the distance of the direction of his new home. The teenager felt bad that their relationship wasn't as strong as most father and sons. But at least they understood each other without so many words. It didn't take long for Patrick to be hit by a tidal wave of questions by the two women that sat at the kitchen table. The boy didn't answer a single one, as he glanced at his twin cousins, who were spread out on the couch watching TV. Both heads perked up with wide eyes once they noticed Patrick standing next to the doorway. This was going to be a long night. He thought to himself, "What's wrong? Your father too embarrassed to walk you to the door? For heaven's sakes, he only had you for what, a whole 5 minutes?" Follow for more stories.